There's a skill that if you are too good at it is going to basically render irrelevant how good you are at other skills. Doesn't matter how good you are at code, how good you're at communicating, how good you are at modeling or sound effects or music composition. If you're too good at this, none of the other skills will matter. And this is something I didn't even think was real when I used to hear coaches harp on it and teachers talk about it, and I just thought it was, I don't know, I thought it was giving people a hard time. I didn't really understand. I hadn't seen it from the educator trainer side as I have in the past several years. And what that thing is basically it's the skill of getting yourself to buy your own excuses. And I know this can sound again kind of harsh or it just sounds so arbitrary from the outside, but once you start to see it, I recognize that the same people who will say that there's the projects are too early, the projects are too late, or the projects are too big, or the projects are too small. The same person who says, "Oh, I'm too young to do that," will before long say, "I'm too old to do that." That the person who says that I live in too crowded of an area will then complain they don't live in a crowded enough area. That when they say these things, right? I mean, there's two immediate ways to tell that that's not actually the limiting thing. One is that there's always plenty of other people who are doing it despite that, right? And obviously everyone's situation is unique, but you can still generalize a little bit. And so, for example, somebody will be like, "Well, I can't make games. I have kids." And I'll be like, "Here are dozens of people who have kids who are finding a way to make games." Or they might say, I don't have time for that because I work in X, Y, or Z. And X, Y, or Z might be anything from retail. It might be something that's a high-paying, high-pressure job. It might be anywhere in between, or it might be freelance as opposed to any given one of those. Again, okay, well, here's dozens of people in that exact same situation who are finding some other way to do it. And acknowledging, again, everyone's situation is unique, but if nothing else, it can be a clue to, well, is that really it? And part of what I've been able to do as a trainer, and I basically a lot of what I do, right, is I find ways to identify people's obstacles, or at least even what they think are their obstacles, because the psychological barrier is just as real, and find ways to remove it. Well, I wouldn't be blocked if X, Y, or Z wasn't the case. In these cases, it's if I had someone to turn to for help on a certain subject, if I had clarity on which way to proceed, if I had teammates, if I had whatever the thing is, I find ways to, okay, well, let me see, can I find a way to remove that obstacle? And there are certain people who, if you remove the obstacle, kind of are no better off for it, or seem equally blocked, still don't proceed, still don't do the thing. And then sometimes they'll raise another objection. They'll come up with another idea. Okay, well, maybe the problem is this. And then you'll remove that obstacle. And before long, those people will kind of fade away and just be like, well, I don't know what it was, but I guess it wasn't those things. So the dangerous thing is when you can buy your own excuses. And I say you buy your own because no one else is convinced. No one else is fooled by this stuff. Other people hear it and they leave you alone because what's good in arguing about it. But I point this out because if it's something you can find in yourself doing, again, what happens is basically you tell yourself it's a limit, and then that's why it's a limit. You tell yourself that's why you can't do it, and so then that's why you can't do it, because you've basically conditionally said, well, I can't do that because I have a blue mug. And because I've created this rule for myself that the blue mug is why I can't do it, well, I can't until I remove the blue mug. And if I then choose to say, well, I can't do it because I have a mug with a logo on it, well, now I'm stuck because I have made up my mind to not try it, proceed, or do it until I have a mug with a logo on it. So, just to say, if you can find other people who are finding a way to make it work, you got to ask yourself, and this doesn't just go for game development, right? This goes for people who are like, oh, I can't exercise because I'm busy. There are probably busier people who find some way to fit it in. And this is not to say it's got to be extreme. You're not training for the Olympics or a marathon, but some sort of moving around sometimes has other benefits for us. And if nothing else, it is to say if I choose to not do that, that's one thing. If I say I can't do it, that's another. Because again, you can typically find somebody else who the same excuses or reasons could apply to, but finds some other way to not be limited by it. Now, real quick, final shout out to want to sneak in everything today. This is the last 7 days or week in which you can apply to Home Team Game Dev for game development help with trainers, with mentorship, with structured projects, with now 3 different platforms. We recently added Godot in addition to Unity, C# and JavaScript on Browser Canvas, including learning resources, all kinds of stuff. We've produced 120 games this way in the past 5 years. Great group of people, but those dues are increasing on July 1st, 2021. And if you apply before that point, even if you don't get accepted before that, if you submit an application before that point, which it is free to apply and there's no obligation, so if you apply and change your mind, fine, don't join us. But if you get that application before July 1st, you can keep the current dues rate and the increase will not affect you. The increase is only for applications July 1st and later. So in the next week, if you've been thinking about Home Team Game Dev, good time to join us. Find out more and apply at hometeamgamedev.com. That's it for the day. Catch you next time.